you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Science Forever. Today I have a 6v6 custom match here on the map Fog Island. It is a 20 by 20, so we'll run ahead and slow it down just a little bit so we can introduce our teams and players without missing any of the early action. In terms of our teams and players, we have Team 1 here to the western side of the map, and Team 2 here on the eastern side of the map. It kind of looks like it would be north and south, but on this map it is west and east. Starting off here with the northwest player of Team 1, it is Chaos Spire going first land as a Cybran in Imperial Gray. To his southeast, we have the comm of a Bramble going first land as a Seraphim in Ruby Red. And the northern side here for Team 1, it is SB going first land as an Aeon in Snow White. To his south, on the southern portion of the map, we have Janet Work going first land in Chevy Crimson as a UEF. And in the middle slot here for Team 2 on the southern side, we have Broby going first land, probably second land or even second air. And he is in a Barbie Pink as a UEF. And last but not least here for Team 2 in the southwest portion of the map, we have Sad Natch, like Sad Sandwich? Sad Natch? It's very a different name, going first land as a Cybran in orange, the color orange. Team 1 side of things for their racial makeups, we have, let's see, 2 Seraphim, 2 Aeon, 2 UEF, 1 Aeon, and 1 Seraphim. So all of the races for Team 1 are available to them. Let's go ahead and check on Team 2. Starting in the southeast corner here for Team 2, it is Ballard99 going first land as a Seraphim in Forest Green. Very good choice here in color for him. To his northwest, we have Lucky Ben going first land in Tropical Ocean Blue as a UEF. Last player on Team 2 on the southern portion, we have Muleless. Yeah, Muleless going first land, second air in Amethyst Purple as a Cybran. Continuing on northward, we have the comm of Asmanuv, another Seraphim here for Team 2, and he is going first land in Batman Gray. The lightest red player of lightest red pink player of Team 2, it is playing 33 going first land, second air as a Cybran. And last but not least here for Team 2 here on the northeast corner of the map, we have Ferv going first land, second air in Rust. So for Team 2 side of things for their racial makeup, we have 3 Cybrans, 2 UEF, and 1 Seraphim. No Aeon available here for Team 2 on this eastern side of the map. Let's take a look here at Reclaim very quickly. We have 177,000 Reclaim. It's not 17,000. It is 177,000 Reclaim. Almost, I'd say, let's just round it to 175,000 so the math is easier. That's a heck of a lot of Reclaim for everyone to scoop up. We also have, I think for the first time on the channel for sure, but I don't know in FAF, we have the inclusion of the UEF Black Sun facility during the, it is featured in the campaigns of the original game before the DLC. It's essentially like, not the Doomsday weapon, but essentially it's like not the MacGuffin. It's depending on whatever faction you're playing at the time, you do different things with the Black Sun facility. So it is the end goal of all of their campaigns is to essentially end up on Earth with the Black Sun facility and just try to take control over it. But it's really cool to see that included in the map here, and it's worth 6,000, almost 6,000 Reclaim. That's a hefty amount of Reclaim for our players to scoop up, and I think it's time for us to go back to normal speed and get this party started here. And if you're looking at this map while I was going through introductions and you're thinking this map looks familiar, and you would be correct, it is very similar to the map Oda, O-D-D-A, which I casted a couple weeks ago. It hasn't been a month, it hasn't been that long. At least I think it hasn't. It's essentially, it's the match where the Awasha Bomber gets like 500,000 mass killed. Anyway, it's very similar. You can tell, you have a northern section, southern section. There's these land bridges that didn't exist in that version of in that Oda map. The central island is different. That's mostly about it. But what I like about this configuration is that there's also these AI strap bombers here in the middle, and they will attack our players and units. It'll be a very interesting obstacle for everyone to maneuver. And we also have these T2 Aeon facilities here in the middle of the map. They are HQs as well, so it will give them access to the Aeon tech, especially for Team 2, who does not even have Aeon tech in a naval map, and they probably would like Torrent class missile ships or Omens or even the Tempest T4 experimental battleship. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of water to traverse, but there's enough where it's going to matter. And most of the ships, at least battleships, T4 or not, will be able to hit essentially almost everything except the very corners of the map. So it's very vital that our players grab not only the land game, but also the Navy game as well. We also have a drop here from Team 1 from the west, from the player of SB, and he is moving in with his units, trying to get a nice little thing going on here. Does look like we have Janet has made it to the island in the middle, and we now see that Shocker T3 strategic bomber has now been activated, or at least is called to action, I guess. We can see the movement coming in, and you can see the attack lines going straight for that facility. It will not allow any enemy units nearby, regardless of what team it is. So it's going to be a little difficult for Team 1's player of Janet to really deal with. It's very annoying when you have these AI units, and you can even see here comes the bomber. There it goes, takes out all of those engineers here for Team 1. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Ooh, I felt that. Oh, I felt that. And that's an AI. That's not a human player playing that. It is a little confusing because we do have Ruby Red player of a Bramble, but he's Seraphim, not Aeon. So kind of an easy way to check between the two. But I do love this inclusion of kind of an additional enemy to deal with that's, you know, neutral. It's not going to favor one team or the other. So it just adds a nice obstacle to the game. And it's very early on, too. It does allow for a lot of the main bases and kind of the early stages of land to really be flushed out and not heavily focus on, okay, we got to drop because there's 4 mexes up here and 2 more and a couple, you know, naval facilities, and it's just kind of crazy here in the middle. Kind of lets the game kind of start off kind of easy, kind of slow, and then it ramps up really quickly, as we've seen in other games, of course. And you haven't noticed as of right now, we do have most of the players in this game have the Hell Clan tag. So for those who love to watch Hell Clan games, or are a part of the Hell Clan, I am pleased to, you know, obviously inform you that I am casting this Hell game. So again, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. It's going to be, I think, a little bit over an hour, so just be aware of that. And so let's get on with some more movement here from Team 2. Nuke building a couple of naval facilities. It does look like Team 2 is starting to get their hands in that naval game, both on the north side and on the south side. We have not necessarily a straight route to the other side of Team 1's main base and obviously water, canal, lake, thingamajig. There's a couple of ways in. You can go this way or you can go this way. I feel like there'll be a lot of contention probably in the middle here. Maybe not as much. I think there'll be more contention here on the south just because the bigger ships can maneuver a lot better through that bigger channel versus the thinner channel. We are seeing interceptors here from Team 2's player of Nuke trying to take out that Shocker. Drops it down below 50% of its hit points. We'll deal with that quite nicely, and then probably we'll bring in some engineers to help either reclaim or capture that facility. You hardly ever see engineers capturing enemy engineers and then, you know, absconding with their technology. It's not... I don't think I've ever seen it in FAF. If it has, it's very, very rare. So I'll be interested to see if players do end up taking engineers out and producing Aeon land facilities, at least here for Team 2. We do have the northern side here for Team 2 starting to group up. A couple of units did try to attack the comms of Playing and Ferv. They're standing strong in the face of, again, dual comms to the west. So it's 2v2 situation here to the north. To the south, it is a 1v1 situation, even though it's like the same map the other way around. You would think it'd be 2v2 down here, but both of the air players on the southern portion of the map for both teams kind of just going to hang out in their base. Looks like he's going to build another air facility, it looks like. Already has T2, and we'll go T3 here pretty soon. We're at the 8.5 minute mark. It looks like all 4 corner players have T2 tech. They should be gearing up to do T3. We have 1 on team 1. We have 1 on team 2. And I think the second one on team 2. Nope, not yet. So at least 1 player on each team going for T3 tech, with the other 2 players focusing on T2, not the fighter bombers and Corsairs in this case here for team 1. We're going to see some combat here pretty soon. Guns damage range going down for Broby. He is being assaulted soon by Lucky Ben. It is UEF versus UEF. Lucky has the gun. Broby will have the gun and will be able to have a nice offensive capability to hold off this enemy incursion. And we'll go straight T2. Very interesting play. He's just essentially, I think, baiting his opponent and wanting him to strike. And the longer that upgrade goes on, the harder it's going to be for Team 2's player of Lucky to deal with. Doesn't say playing, but Broby here on the southern portion. And there is the move. It goes off. Gun upgrade doing nice work, 2-shotting all of these tanks. There's no artillery. Oh, there's a couple of Lobos, but that's really about it. Does look like Broby's strategy is keeping his units back, using his comm as the main tank, which, you know, not a bad strategy, especially gives him some veterancy and all that kind of nice things. Obviously puts his comm at risk, but you have to be a little bit risky in this game if you want to have a lot of opportunity to push your opponent back. We are seeing the land incursions here for both teams. Actually, really only for Team 1 here on the western side. Team 2 has some interceptors nearby, but that's about it. Looks like these interceptors will go after the ones from Team 2. It's about the same, but again, early stages T1 air isn't really that important to have air control. I mean, it's really easy to produce interceptors and bombers, so it's not that absurd. What was absurd was it looked like, at least from a bird's eye view, that a T1 bomber was going to go after some T1 inties that were sitting on the ground. That would have been absurd. But luckily for Team 2's player of Esmo, that did not happen. Does look like it's going to be just base wars here to the east and the west. Chaos and Bramble just saying, we've got some defenses on, let's just leave. Team 2 doing very similar things. It is, of course, a UEF comm known for their base war tendencies and tankiness. So it's going to be essentially maybe a stalemate up here to the north. Down here in the south, it'll probably be less of a thing. We have Lucky Ben going for a shield upgrade. T2 has now finished. He's building some flak to protect himself. He has a couple. He doesn't even have PD. He's going just straight flak and TMD. Doesn't want to be offensive, mainly defensive, which is very interesting. You would think he would want to push that advantage on the ground while he had it, but isn't deciding to do so. We're approaching the 11-minute mark. Do we have any T3 tech? Yes, to the northwest here for Team 1 and the northeast here for Team 2 as well. So both teams now have access to T3 air technology. And it does look like these subs and these frigates will go after this naval facility. I would love for have Team 2 to pull back and reclaim this, instantly jumping to Team 2. It's T2 Aeon, just like Team 1 has done. And he's already producing, I think those are destroyers. Yeah, I think those are destroyers, and then he's going to produce a frigate after, no, sorry, cruiser after that. We're already seeing the emergence of T2 naval tech as well here from Janet with those T2 Governor-class cruisers. Very effective at taking out land targets, especially when they don't move. But naval incursions starting to occur here between Team 1 and Team 2. That narrow neck channel. A bunch of frigates and subs going at it. Having assistance here from the player of Bramble here for Team 1. It is subs and frigates. It isn't a mix of, it isn't a only one thing or the other. We'll have to see how time goes with that. Looks like it is starting to go Team 1's way, but with T2 tech on the rise here, that will probably end here very quickly. Would like to see maybe the Salem built first, just for the torpedo defense. But it does look like Salem's are being built here by Broby as well. So it does look like one will go AA, one will go for main naval bombardment and offensive capabilities. Which, I mean, AA is offensive anyways, but it's mainly considered a defensive thing versus an offensive thing. My opinion, of course. You can't really aggressively, I mean, you can, but it's a lot harder to aggressively attack with AA than it is to aggressively attack with, like, PD, for example. And still, no T2 PD. We are starting to see the first one emerge. It looks like this TMD was taken out by some missiles, possibly. We are seeing more and more facilities pop online here for Team 2's player of Lucky Ben. Do see T3 Tech finished here for Ballard here in the southeast corner. Not finished here for Team 1 for Sad Natch, and he's not even going for T3 at the current moment. And we're not seeing any real movement to go for straight, but Mealis decides to control K. Let's see, usually when this happens, usually it's either a connection issue or something else. Dash Peck, Mealis Wag, don't know what that means. Or Bag. Don't see any, maybe it had to do with connection. Most likely it has to do with connection when people leave like that. It always sucks to watch people leave like that because Team 2 is going to lose one of their highest rated players of Mealis. He was a 1500 this game, now drops to a 6v5 in favor of Team 2, and I think it is it a partial share? He only really had engineers. He wasn't building really offensive units. I don't see anything of value in terms of like land units or whatever the case may be. No, I don't see anything. It could be partial share, but it's at least sharing at some point, which is, you know, in a 20 by 20, it's always nice to not have to, okay, now I have to pick up some engineers, move them over here, build all the eco up instead of just, okay, a player died, I can just take it all and be done with it. But he did upgrade a heck of a ton of his central mechs here. We are at 14 and a half, almost 15 minutes here. A lot of effort was made by Mealis. I think he was the eco player to just spam out as much as he can. He has a couple of facilities online as well for T2 Naval Tech. So very great asset for the player of Yesmo Noob to grab. And I think it's also Cybran, so there's no issue with technology switching where, you know, you have Seraphim and Cybran. It's just one faction being Cybran. The middle island here for the game is pretty much owned by Team 1. There's the installation up here for Team 2, and there's this position here. It does not look like they claimed the Aeon Tech, which means they lost out on the chance to produce those missile ships and Tempests and Omens and all that sort of thing. Very, not necessarily disappointed, but it's a missed opportunity at the end of the day. We are seeing some Salem's trying to come into that cove, and then they'll be able to bombard the land and then walk onto it as well. Be a very interesting play from Team 2 if they can't assist with defense. But we are seeing some Siren class cruisers come in as well, so they'll be able to protect these destroyers, at least here for now. Team 2's fleet up to the north being very, not getting super big, but it's starting to get, you know, very oppressive here on the northern side. Team 1 has decided to fall back and hold this position, not allowing for Team 2 to snake in through this little channel area. So, you know, good on them for placement. Not wanting any shenanigans going on up there. We are seeing some missiles come out from the governor classes from Team 1 attacking Lucky Ben here on the south. Of course, there are some Team D to assist, but only so much can be done. He doesn't have access to volcanoes. We even have a T2 Exodus class destroyer trying to do what he can, but just can't get the firing arc due to this high altitude of this, I won't say plateau, but essentially it's a plateau. I mean, this part's a little bit lower, but not by much. This map is very much designed to be naval combat is in one arena, and land combat is in its own arena. But a lot of these PD are being taken out. It's a large, you know, cliff. Units from the water cannot do much of anything. They have to go all the way back around to this western side. The Team 2 has the essentially plateau advantage, but there's constantly having to build PD. They need assistance from the Navy to the east. We are starting to see some naval build to assist with taking out these 2 cruisers and 1 destroyer. There's enough frigates and a couple destroyers to be able to deal with this, so either Team 1 will lose these units or they will have to retreat. But the order hasn't been given as of yet, so we'll see. Team 2 does have access to T3 Cybran technology in the water. They're going to build some Galaxy-class battleships here. Those destroyers we saw in the middle of the map starting to make their way westward. Team 1, you know, needs to do something about this. They need either Corsairs or Nothers or something to deal with these. And in terms of the land game, neither team really focusing on it. The southern portion of the map is really the only focus, and it's really just kind of just a base war at this point. A couple of units, shot pod shots at one another. That's about it. But a decent-sized fleet is sitting off the coast of Team 1's facilities here. Yeah, it's only a land facility and a TMD, but every little bit of ground that is gained is better than no ground gained. And Team 1 might be thinking about pumping out some T3 tech here on this northwestern side, and it has materialized with the first Hathum already 50% of the way completed. We're approaching that 20-minute mark of the game. Let me know down in the comments who do you think is going to win. I know it's kind of a little bit early to tell. Team 1 does have the players alive advantage just due to the fact that essentially one player had to vacate, whether it be, it was, lost internet connection or just had a bad connection in general. Whatever the case may be, it's always sad to see players vacate that way. So it is a 6v5. And, of course, if you've been liking the cast so far, please like it. Please hit that thumb up button down below the video. And if you haven't subbed and you've been enjoying the content here on the channel or this video, just singularly, let me know, of course, by hitting that sub button. But the two destroyers here to the north are being bombarded by these destroyers and cruisers and frigates and subs here by Team 2. Direct fire weapons can only do so much, of course. The projectile weapons from Team 2 can miss, but with so many coming off those ships, it does make a huge difference. But now the T3 Hathum battleship capable of supplying nukes to the battlefield is going to start pummeling these destroyers, and they're going to start grouping here in this section and in this section. And so that will be a huge issue for Team 2 to deal with, because that Hathum is going to be a huge advantage. And there's even a aircraft carrier with missiles, so that's always helpful for Team 1 to have access to. I don't see any aggression to the south. It's kind of more of the same, just more build-up. And it does look like still Base Wars is in, full effect here down in the south. That large T1 army has fallen back a little bit. Same with the comm on the front lines. But honestly, either team could push, but I think whichever team pushes is whichever team loses. So for Team 2's position of lucky, he would rather Team 1 push and then vice versa. Because either all the mass will sit on one side of the map or the other, or one will be able to get rid of all of these defenses. Because it's a lot here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PD here, plus artillery, plus TMD, plus, it hasn't built TMLs, but I wouldn't be surprised if we build those here pretty soon. The middle of the map has been essentially entirely conquered by Team 2. Nice a role reversal here has eliminated all of that advantage. There's a couple of mechs is in the bottom of the ocean, which they could build mass storages around, but one is at T3, so that's a nice solid 18 mass a second here for the player of Giant Mechs. We haven't even taken a look at ecos at 20 minutes. We have 1.6k at 20 minutes for Team 1 and 1.8k for Team 2. Almost 2,000 mass per second at 21 minutes. I'm expected to see possibly an early maybe Scathis or Maver or some sort of game ender, probably about the 35-minute mark, just based on these numbers alone. We have, of course, Esmanoob on dual base at 700 mass per second just by himself, dwarfing his compatriots and the entire enemy team by more than double the mass per second. It's going to be a huge advantage, and there's already seeing the Rascom starting to materialize. That's when you know the ecos are starting to get out of hand with all of those Rascoms running around the map. Teleporter on the way here for Chaos Spire. Very interesting early play. Only 22 minutes in. Kind of interesting to see that, as well as T3 for SB. Playing 3 builds the first experimental of the game. Is it a monkey? It is a monkey. That's going to be sent northward. Air grid starting to be established here for Natch, but for Ferv, the other orange player here in the game. Does look like Ferv is building a bunch of rover drones, upgrading them, and then is going to build a Novax. Very interesting early play here by him. wanting to produce as many ASFs and bombers as he can. I mean, and this place doesn't offer a lot of room from, a huge air grid. But the downside is, the closer it is to the Navy or the water, the easier it is for battleships and other units to target it. And that naval fleet from Team 1, with the assistance of one Hathum, a couple of destroyers, and a bunch of Team 1 spam, going to start engaging this fleet here from Team 2. And the spam will run in first, but of course the Hathum has the range. The destroyers are the main target for it, and the other destroyers are targeting their other compatriots. So it's going to be whittled down to only T1 forces. There is, however, a T3 Galaxy class battleship on the front lines for Team 2. This will help assist in defense, but the push and momentum is going Team 1's way. We even see a nice little force, a little slow because of this narrow environment, but they are pushing forth through this little channel area, giving a nice little ambush opportunity, or in this case just reinforcement opportunity here for Team 1 on this northern side. And they're going to come in right behind that Galaxy. It's going to overwhelm it, eventually pincer maneuver it, take out this facility. It'd be a great grab if this battleship does not make it out of there. And I don't see any more at the current moment, so that's the only one on the field. Be a great grab here by Team 1 on that northern side. Team 2, Team 1, again, still kind of hanging out. Team 2 owns this little upper plateau. It's very hard to do much of, anything with it. There's a lot of TMD, a couple of AA emplacements, but that's about it. Would like to see some TMLs. I'll only see TMD, which is, would be great position for TMLs, but sadly it is not the case. That battleship is forced northward to engage that Hathum. The aircraft carrier being this far forward, not the best idea. There's a transport that just got completely destroyed on some way back. That has got to hurt. It does look like all of those additional forces have been wiped out, and most of the naval fleet is moving southward to cut off any sort of incoming assistance. That Galaxy is going to just get pummeled right now after this one Hathum is dealt with the destroyers. And you can see a lot of the firepower of the T1 frigates. I mean, it's not a lot per shot, but it does do a lot of damage over the course of time. The first one is down. The second one will now start to be targeted. Team 2's player of, let's see, playing at 33 is going to build some, I think these are sub-hunters, T2s, because I think only the Seraphim get the T3 submarines. Yep, it is the Barracuda sub-killers, not the hunters, close enough. A T3 whaler here. There is a couple of AA emplacements on the aircraft carrier, and that gunship goes down. Airfight ensues over the top of Team 2's forward operating base, and that's a nice engagement by Team 1. They're going to get all those ASFs. They do lose the bombers that were going after this monkey, but they got a huge advantage now in the air, almost a completely air dominance against Ferv on this northern side. Team 2, again, kind of being very conservative with their air forces and their units in general. They are pushing on the Navy, though, but we have a wing of, or I guess squadron at this point, of Stonks, or Storks, here for Team 1's player of Janet Work. And here come the couple of squadrons here from Sad Natch. And they're going to engage. There they go. They're going to engage. The ASFs are going to take out those bombers, but a lot of the damage is going to be done by just the port bombers themselves. Lost the word for it for a second. There goes, drops it below half of its health. A huge boon just to this Neptune class, which is struggling to stay alive here, being sandwiched in the middle of the map. Plus, of course, there's not a lot of reinforcements coming here for Team 1. So any chance they can get to take out that destroyer would be met. And there are a wing of bombers on their way south, where the ASFs are actually going to come assist and take out the enemy ASFs, claiming air dominance. That monkey is essentially been left alone because there's now a monkey here for Team 1, and of course there is another Hathum nearby. Trading blows here. It does look like, oh, that monkey stopped firing its laser. Oh no. Oh, that monkey's gonna die. Oh, it's gonna die. Only has 200 hit points left. That is crazy. Monkey chasing monkey. Drop below 100 hit points. There it goes. That monkey will get a rank of veterancy. It was not killed off. Definitely a huge mistake here by Team 1's player. Bram wasn't microing it as much as he should. but he is gaining a huge advantage here in the Navy, so we'll forgive him for that. Even some Rascals coming in to scoop up the mass. 1, 2, 3, 4 Hathums on that front line, pushing back these Galaxy and other T2 and T1 units here for Team 2. Making huge inroads, especially with just pumping out some T1 PD just to annoy his opponent. Or having some Ravagers be built to help defend that air grid. Which again, taxing your opponent's APM is a good move. Especially when you want to do a bunch of stuff at the same time. Forcing them to do a bunch of stuff at the same time is definitely a great move. But now we see the land incursions start to occur for Team 2. We have a Fat Boy pushing westward. There is a monkey in the distance here for Team 1. But a lot of those forces have been dealt with. There's even T3 units and T2 all mixed in here. Titans. I think I saw a Percy somewhere. Yep, there's a Percy. Would love to see some shields or AA built on top of that Fat Boy. But they're going to be nice. A lot of work being done. Strapovers are coming in, going to do a massive amount of damage to that land army, essentially cut the forces in half. T2 Cormorants trying to take out as many naval units as they can and halt the enemy incursion, but we have 3 players on Team 1 pumping out these T2 Torp Bombers, doing massive amounts of damage, and even if they, get killed on their first runs, if they kill these destroyers, it diminishes Team 2's effectiveness in the water on the southern side. That's essentially worth it, but we can see 3 more battleships built up here for Team 2. They pull back a little bit, but they're holding strong. It does look like there are some artillery emplacements to try to knock out the naval presence for Team 1, but the bombardment has started to occur. All these positions are under threat. Of course, they have to navigate the hills and mountains and plateaus and try to actually get a decent sightline on their targets. But the naval fleet will start to engage, and all those units go, oh, there's actually something that we can shoot a lot easier. Let's take out those. So here they come. We even see a naval facility built by Team 1 to build up engineers to reclaim. In terms of reclaim, Team 1 has scored a little bit more. Not a whole lot, about 26,000 more than their opponents. In terms of mass, a nuke has been launched. Wow, I have missed that nuke. It has come from... Where is it? There's a whole bunch of stuff on the map. Team... Oh, it actually came from a sub? Well, not a sub. It came from a Hathum, it looks like. Possibly. That would... it's kind of small. Yeah, it looks like it did come from that Hathum. And it's trying to assassinate the player of Fur, but also go after the Novaxes. It is not close enough. All of those rover drones get taken out. Both of the Novaxes are gone. That was a great placement by Team 1, taking out that installation. We saw a couple satellites kind of flying around. Player of Chaos Spire also building the laser. That's kind of early for him to build Telemaser. Maybe he just wants access to it, and then we'll build and then teleport later. But we are having a Awashabama on the field here for Team 2. Will it be able to repeat what the one did a couple weeks ago and kill 500,000 mass? We'll just have to wait and see on that. But man, he is pumping out everything he can to assist his ground teammate here, and I think that's where their focus is taking out the land and just gonna kind of curve clockwise and northwardly, which is a really good move. Team 1 does have the advantage, sort of, in I guess they lost the advantage for now. We have 2 players on Team 2 building ASFs, and only 1 player on Team 1. A couple of ASFs here and there, but it's mainly just bombers of the T2 torpedo variety. Team 1 making a huge amounts of inroads here, constantly pushing back their opponents. It does look like control of the Navy has been gifted over to playing 33, so he can micro it a lot better. So as units come in from the player of Esmo Noob, he gifts them over so his teammate can micro them a lot better. Another experimental, this time a crab. Now, if this is positioned probably about here, it does have a sightline on at least a couple of those battleships, but I hear another bomb go off. It's going for the Navy this time. There goes, nice placement, takes out a decent amount of hit points, but the ASFs will try to come in behind it and take it out, and they're getting a nice engagement here. ASFs from Team 2 have to deal with this, and here they come. They get a nice engagement. They need to turn around. It's not going to look good here, but unfortunately for Team 1, if they lose this ASF battle, Team 2 also has ASFs in the form of FAF, so it's very risky to send all of their ASFs at one target. And you can see the swarm is starting to occur around these summits. There is a command class aircraft carrier that's just kind of hanging out, but of course the Neptunes are doing a ton of work against those T2 units. Here comes another bomb from the Awasha. It's going to impact the shield against that bulwark. Oh, but the shield goes down. Takes out a nice section of those naval units for Team 1. Loses that Neptune that was on its last leg. ASFs for Team 1 need to be built up quite heavily. And we can see now all of the ASFs for Team 2 are down here. And that bomber is smoking a little bit, but you know, it's still online. It's still happy. It's not dead yet, so it's better to be half alive than fully dead. But that bomber looking like it's eyeing that monkey, and here's it comes. Bomb is going to drop essentially right on top of it. Did it land? I don't know if it landed or not, but that is a bad turn, and there they go. The ASFs are going to engage, and they get a nice engagement here against Team 1, and all those ASFs are dead. Unless they turn around, they're all dead. Oh, that's going to hurt. Ooh. Just the ASFs alone from Bullard 99 will be able to take out both of these ASF balls, I guess, for lack of a better word. And that is a huge loss for Team 2, but at least they still have the air advantage. And then now all the ASFs from FAF do come in a little too late, and that's the disadvantage with a 20 by 20. It takes even an aircraft a while to get from one side of the map to another. And we do see that Crab tried to come in the water and use its torpedoes on its chassis, but of course there are torpedoes on the Exodus class destroyers. We have Rascoms building harms to help assist with dealing with that. And it looks like it's trying to target the SAM sites, but then retasks onto the destroyers. Now the Omens are making their appearance as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers. 6 battleships plus 2 Omens. And there goes that firepower. That megalith is going to be annihilated before it can get back to its base. There it goes. Thousands of hit points. I think 1 or 2 more barrages, and it's dead. Here comes another barrage from some battleships, and that is it. That experimental is down. FAF built another Novak Center. It's going to build another one right below it, kind of a little bit further away. Don't see any more building of... let's see. No. So, I mean, it's not a nuke launcher. It's the actual missile looked kind of small. And I don't see any nuke launchers as of right now. It was Seraphim definitely, so that does mean it was a Hathum. It is starting to slow down just a little bit. I don't see any spicy plays in the main base. I feel like Esmanov should be building something at this point. His comm is in this little section of the water all by his lonesome. Going for a nano repair upgrade, but I don't see... I mean, you would think he's building maybe a Scathus or something at this point with 868 mass per second. That's a lot of mass. But probably should be thinking about... Again, we are at the 33-minute stage. You have to start thinking about how you want to end the game, because yeah, you can play a game for 3 hours. Great. Awesome. Like, if you can play a match for that long in FAF, that amazes me. I'd probably die of, brain overlord or something. But you got to think about how to end it, because you could be the best in the early, mid, late game, but the end game, if you lose, you lose. Doesn't matter what you did in the beginning, you still lost. So got to think about how to end the game, just as important as how you want to start the game. And we have a massive amount of naval forces being built here to just blockade Team 1's efforts to go southward. I think Team 1 is just fine with just sitting here. The destroyers, the battleships are trying to do something, but they just constantly impact these mountains here. Omens are starting to get pretty close in a position to take this out, but I did see artillery, another nuke launches, this time positioned against the naval fleet here to the east, and that is from Flank 33. He's producing that nuke fairly quickly. That one will land, of course, because there's no SMD-based naval unit, and so I think he's going to get at least 3 battleships. See, there he goes. Kaboom. Takes out 2 of them. Didn't kill a whole lot, but did at least eliminate a decent amount. Does start to provoke these units down to the south, but they don't really want to engage. I don't blame them. There's a lot more battleships to the north, but there's a lot more, not ads, but essentially ads here for team to be able to just throw at their opponent, or bullet sponges, target saturation, whatever the word you want to use. There is a artillery installation here for team 1 bombarding that air grid. Let's see, where is it from? It is coming from team 1's player of Bramall. He's thought about how to end the game. He has his artillery online and is working on his second one. Don't see anything in the rear guard here for team 1. Anything in here? Oh, that's going on reactor. I don't see anything of note here for southern team 1. No. No Novaxes. There is a nuke launcher here for team 2. I heard something happen, but I think those are Rascom deaths. Yeah, there's one right here that died. And a crab with a FAF boy is pushing on team 2's forward operating base for Lucky Ben. He has a backup line of defenses, but that is not enough. He needs to deal with this crab first and foremost. And once that FAF boy comes in range, good luck. They have the range advantage, but it does look like Team 1 wants to poke the Hornet's Nest, and the Hornet's Nest is coming at it. The destroyer is coming in and out, trying to avoid all that projectile fire. You can see constantly shots being thrown back and forth from one another. I'd like to see more of these mobile shields be brought forth to help assist the Navy in defense, taking out those battleships. That's probably the main target. There's a lot of frigates, and there's a couple of destroyers and cruisers, but it's mainly just frigates and battleships. So I'd love to see the battleships be taken out first and then the frigates mopped up fairly quickly afterwards. But that crab is making a lot of inroads. There's a huge naval fleet here for team 2, and team 1 has a decent size of their own. 4 battleships versus 4 battleships. There's a lot of AA in this mix as well from the aircraft carriers, but team 2, I mean, they've been not super struggling, but struggling a little bit on the northern side. And on this southern side, they're kind of winning back, but Team 1 is heavily pushing back, especially with more Neptunes and just a horde of shields. Floating shields for the win here for Team 2. Sorry, for Team 1. So, look at those. Look at all those bulwark shields. They're like, anybody needs a shield? I got a shield. You got a shield? Everybody gets a shield. It's like Oprah with giving out cars. Like, everybody gets a car. Everybody gets a shield. Look at all the shields. And they're starting to be very effective. They lost their charge, but they'll regain that. They've taken out a Galaxy class. They're pushing back the rest of them. There's a couple of whalers nearby to deal with this crab. But the main threat of this forward operating base has been taken out. Team 1 has taken out Team 2 by artillery. Oh, over here in the main base here. Those look like Flank 33 teleported over and then died by PD. Definitely unfortunately there for them, and now it's a 6v4 in favor of Team 2. We of course know that Chaos Spire does have his own telemazer available to him. But again, I just thought he built it and he will just have it, but he won't use it. It's very rare that you see a telemazer used that early. I mean, yeah, we have Flank 33 was starting to struggle, but I mean, it's not a huge issue. I know he lost his nuke launcher due to that artillery, but I feel like a better target would have been to go after the artillery and not the air grid. I don't know why he came here. I feel like that's kind of a weird play, honestly. Don't know what his thinking was. I can't read his mind now or in the past or in the future, so you would have to message me in the comments about what his thought process was. I keep hearing strap bombers everywhere. Where are they? Where are the strap bombers? I keep hearing them. Those are whalers. Is there another Awasha under construction here for Team 2? No. I don't see any, like... Oh, there it is. There's got to be something at this point. At 38 minutes, there is the Scathus. Little over a third done. That will change this game in favor of Team 2. We have both artilleries launching, I think, at this Novax complex. We do have some TMD to help us, sorry, PD to help assist with its own SMD. But if these Hathums were building nukes, it'd be the perfect time to do so. Just to start spamming out that... Oh, there is one loaded, so Team 1 does have access to nukes in terms of those Hathums. Very effective, and I don't say cost effective, but it's just nice to be able to say, hey, I have a battleship that also can have a nuke. Very effective. Like the Cyberns being all versatile, except Seraphim are doing it. But these battleships are being beat back by the combined pressure of the Aeon and Seraphim forces from Team 1. Land forces and artillery and infrastructure are being taken out here by the battleships. It's a lot of pressure. Team 2 needs to fight this somehow. You need either a nuke or something to deal with this, and I don't really see any of that going on right now besides the Scathis, which should be... Yeah, it is over half done now. Team 1 making another play for the land with a monkey and a fat boy this time. Team 2 having to retreat just due to the forward pressure and momentum from the summits and from the fat boy. Those Neptunes are going down, but a huge effort to build a bunch of harms and just delay Team 2. Very effective, of course. They can be ground fired because they don't sit that far underneath the water, but I mean, it is an effective play. Another nuke has launched, this time from that Hathum we saw earlier, and it is going to target the naval production facilities here for Team 2 on the northern side of the map. This nuke is going to land smaller than its land compatriot, or YOLO compatriot for that measure. But here it comes. It is a Seraphim. It is very pretty. There it goes. Takes out 1, 2, 3, 4 facilities, even an HQ for Team 2. They hold on to this one. It's barely out of range, but that is a huge hole for Team 1 to exploit. Good placement of the nuke. Would have probably placed it instead of here, probably like right here. But still, it was still a great placement. Took out a lot of build power and units, so good on him. ASF fight over the top here for Team 2 and Team 1. Does look like it's about the same. I think... Oh, that is the wrong orange. I think Ferv does have a little bit more of an advantage versus Chaos. Yep, does have a little bit of an advantage, and also adding in Team 2's. They do have air control. We're seeing a lot more efforts by Sad Nats to pump out ASFs. But Team 2's air player, a Ballard, has over almost 300, so yeah. Team 2 is in the driver's seat for air. They're not in control, or they're not in dominance mode, but they are in control. There's not a lot of AA here to deal with these whalers, so they'll be able to do a lot of damage, but essentially most of the ships have now been dealt with for Team 2. Now Team 1 operates on carte blanche, essentially just being able to fire on anything and everything, but there is a lot of flak for these whalers to deal with. They make it riddled. They just get ripped to shreds by that AA here from the player of SB. Pushing, says Broby. I mean, yeah... he does have the numbers advantage, and he does have a position to fall back to. That's a lot of mass to scoop up. They probably want to deny this against their opponent. Team 2 is, pretty down in the numbers from mass per second. They're at 2.4 thousand versus 3,000 for Team 1. And it's weird to say, like, oh, they're, below Team 1. They're below what they should be, but 2.5 thousand mass a second is really good. But Chaosbar has been defeated by Asbo Noob. Does look like he teleported in to take out the Scathis, and he does, but he loses his life for it. This drops this game to a 5v4. A lot of just teleporting comms, not necessarily for no reason, but kind of for no reason. Yeah, this one at least was a little better. Going to go after the Scathis, which he does. He does claim it, and does look like these things are upgrading to something. Oh, no, just repairing. Looks like they were upgrading, but they're not. They are repairing, and this is a lot of air pressure. There's a nuke launched by Team 1's player of Sad Natch, and it's going to land trying to intercept those ground units. Not going to do a whole lot, but does take out a chunk of them, though. Probably would have been better placement to put it somewhere else, but of course, where do you could have put it here. I don't think that SMD can cover it. Oh, you could edge it out. You could probably land it right here and take out all this. That'd be a great opportunity. just waiting to be shot at, but alas, is not the case currently. But look at this pressure here from Team 1. They're just going clockwise around the main island. Team 2 does have a T3 land headquarters pumping out some bricks, but I don't know what you're going to do with that with a monkey on the way. Not looking good here for Team 1. Sorry, for Team 2 here on that middle island. And now just the sheer number of units and shields and AA is just pummeling Team 2. They needed that Scathis. They're building a second one as we speak, but man, that severely slowed down their game. Does Team 1 have anything else? They're building a fourth artillery. Needs more shields. They do have the assist hives with the Seraphim Tech shields, so it's going to be very hard for these Novaxes to puncture through. And it does look like a sharing of technology has occurred between, well, I guess they're right next to a door, so not that absurd. But I do love the mixing of technology, using the best aspects of both factions. Artillery constantly raining in on Fur's inherited base. There it goes, taking out that section of mass fabs. We have engineers trying to build shields as fast as they can, but it's just, at this point, too little too late. Artillery starting to rain down on the Novaxes. This is kind of Team 2 saving grace right now. Ferv is hanging in there. Another nuke is launched, this time by Team 2. And it's from a YOLO. Completely missed that. It was just mixed in with all the, similarly looking P-gens. And this is a huge thing for Team 2. They were building two of the game enders at the same time. And shoot YOLO here says, Ferv, yeah, that'd be great, but it's not going there. It's going over here. And how far will it go? Will it land? It will land right here. Pings go down to move. It's too little too late. It's going to take out a huge number of these naval forces and engineers. There they go. Oh, that's gotta hurt. 1, 2, 3, 4. How is that one not dead? I feel like this one should have died. But taking out 3 summits. I think actually 4. Taking out 4 summits and a bunch of Rascoms and harms. Another nuke is launched. They are loading that as fast as they can. Now the second one is going to go for that artillery. This is a huge comeback here by Team 2. And this is 4 artillery assisted with 1 shield. SMDs are not loaded. Is there any SMDs on the way? No, there is not. It's essentially open season. This is going to be a huge grab by Team... Oh, nope, there's 2 right here. Never mind. But they're building their own YOLO. It's already half done. This is a huge, huge operation for Team 1. If Team 2 can take it out, just spam all the nukes. The second one should be ready in about a couple of seconds. You just got to launch them there. That's it. You have the advantage. Press the advantage. You're going to use the Novaxes, of course. Ferv is just getting bombarded constantly. Cannot catch a break in this game. He commented in one of my videos a couple weeks ago that's like, you always cast the games that I'm like, I kind of do bad in. Or like, it just doesn't show my best performance. I'm like, I'm sorry. I can't, predict if you're going to do bad or not. But he's done really well, considering he's being bombarded constantly. He's hanging in there. He's doing very well. So, some players would have quit by now, but he is sticking in it. So good for him. And another... Oh, the nuke doesn't go for this. Oh, no. This should have gone for this position. They're trying to spam nuke loading as fast as they can. The shield, it's staying online, but it is struggling due to all the... At least most of the hives focusing on the SMD. Man, that's such a miss. That would have landed. That would have killed a whole lot. And now the Navy is targeted once again. It's just a jam up at this point. It's very hard to navigate. Of course, the SAM sites make it essentially a smaller channel to move through. But Ferv has been defeated by Bramble. He wasn't moving. That Novax is still online, though, surprisingly. So that's, glass half full kind of thing. But I don't think it's going to last very long, though. Strategic launch detected. And what's interesting, though, is that when the Novax is transferred over to someone, it destroys the satellite and then rebuilds it. I wish that didn't happen, but, feeling like it would be a lot better if those could just be switched as regular units, but then you could switch them as regular units, so it's probably not the best idea. Okay, now the second YOLO being sent to this position, and the second SMD has been loaded. Oh, it's such a missed opportunity. The YOLO here for Team 1 is almost done. A lot of emphasis, I mean, more SMD being built as we speak, of course, just to halt the oppressive nature of the YOLO. But the northeastern side for Team 1 is just being bombarded constantly. We have actually 2 Novaxes here for Team 2. And there comes that nuke overhead. I was going to say where to go, but there it is. There it comes. The first SMD gets shot. The second SMD throws its missile. There it goes. Team 2, you either need to pump more out faster or just solely target that one position. Looks like that is what they're doing. Yep, now they're doing it. So they had the opportunity, but they lost it. This was that was a huge mistake. Not a huge mistake, but it was a huge missed opportunity here for Team 2. And it drops this game now to a 5v3. It's still in favor of Team 1. And that oppressive red wave of blood or snow or whatever is pushing southward. They do finish the Scathis, though. So Team 2 has two YOLOs, 2 game enders compared to Team 1's only 1. I don't see anything in this base. I see Fat Boys being built, lots of mass Fat farms. Don't really see anything else of like huge strategic note. This base is completely covered in shields, and they're just pumping out Rascoms as we speak. But the YOLO is almost done. Ping's going down constantly to help assist. Of course, the 4 artillery just being super useful here for Team 1. And it's just hurting. It's just really hurting here for Team 1. Let's get a nice little picture of this YOLO here. And again, like, it looks very similar to a T3P gen. It's very hard to notice. There goes the nuke. It is launched once again. There it goes. Let's do a shot like this. Oh, there you go. Not like this. Like, can you see me? That's probably going to be the thumbnail of this video. Is can you see me? There it goes. It's not launching to the same location, though. I think the window has closed on the possibility of going after this position, but it did launch. It did take it out. Apologies for missing it. I was distracted by taking the thumbnail. That is a huge grab by Team 2. They've essentially neutered Team 1 in their attempts to build a whole bunch of stuff, but their Scathis was killed once again. I think it was due to, I think maybe just some Ascoms teleported in. Or, no, hold on. Did it move? I don't think it moved. It did fire. Oh no, there was a monkey that came in and take that out. So in the time that I was taking a screenshot or a thumbnail for the video, I missed 2 things. That's very annoying. Apologies for that. But now Rascom's being targeted. Oh, we just want mass. But that's a huge grab by Team 2, taking out that huge YOLO and a bunch of artillery. Goes to show you, decentralize your stuff. Strat Bomber's trying to target. I don't know what they're targeting. It's kind of weird. But there was a huge moment from this Fat Boy, though, taking out that Scathis. Again, when Team 1 lost something, Team 2 lost something, but still, they're still up 1 YOLO. So that's a huge grab, and now the nukes are just raining everywhere. And let's see, is this one loaded? No, it is not. This one is loaded, and it has 2 SMD, but it's out of range. This facility will go down. It does look like it was trying to be pumped out more and more, but there it goes. Another nuke is launched, this time by Team 1, and they are going after this position. The ASFs are kind of just hanging out, so we'll see if they are called to move. Team 2, of course, loses their next YOLO missile. Man, it is starting to hurt. Team 2 is inflicting massive amounts of damage on this map here for Team 1. And Team 1, their only saving grace essentially is the oppressive navy that they have, and they're just bombarding everything. Look at the huge influence they have. They almost have the entire middle island surrounded. That nuke not really doing a whole lot, unfortunately, here for Team 1. But the nuke from Team 2's YOLO is inbound. This one is not loaded. This one has only 1 loaded. that is essentially it. That one will fire, but that is it. This air grid for Team 1 will go down. And, oh, some of it will at least. There it goes, right in the middle of the core mass. Ooh, it's very pretty nuke. There it goes. Boom. Takes out a whole bunch of stuff. Look at that. Look at all that mass. It's just gone. Team 1's eco is still at 2.7k. The nuke does land here from Team 1, so this with the mass and everything else that was here is gone. We have Esmo Noob essentially losing half of his base, most of his base now. He is regulated to just the water. Team 1 needs to deal with this YOLO. It is the most annoying thing. But they are targeting the SMD. That's the only one there and the only one loaded. This one does have one loaded as well. But that might be a target here for Team 1 to deal with. Don't know. They're building a bunch of SMD and having them just passively load. They have this one back here that has 2. So they're kind of safe for now. The air grid is getting taken out by the Novaxes. The Team 1 struggling to deal with those. And there comes the other nuke that will take out the rest of the air grid, at least most of it at this point. Team 1 was looking like they were in the driver's seat for a pretty long time. And that is not looking good. There it goes. Cobb, boom, takes out essentially everything up to maybe this point. But nukes are landing all the time. The SMD has been taken out for this position. And the the nuke from the Hathum will launch and land. There it goes. This section of the base for Team 2 is gone. YOLO landing again. Next YOLO says Ferv. Yeah, that's a lot of summits. That's a lot of summits. How many? That's 9 summits. That's a lot of summits. We have Torp Bombers trying to do what they can. They should be targeting the Hathum. That is the most important unit. They have the nukes on board. There's one on board right here. There's only a couple more Galaxy classes online for Team 2. They're about to lose all of their Navy and completely surround the middle island. They've lost, third of their top island and top section. There goes the nuke. Oh, that one. No, that was a. Oh. That was a waste. But another nuke does land. Where is this one going? Oh, it's trying to edge it out. Oh, is it gonna? Oh, these aren't loaded. Oh, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Let's see. Will that SMD cover it? Nope, that's the wrong play. Oh, there it goes. No, it's not. Is this gonna be enough? Oh, it just barely singes it. Oh, that shield protects it just barely, and pings go down to say load those SMD. Comm says Esmo Noob. The nuke does land, takes out that huge mass of naval bombardment ships, those battleships. Team 1 needs to keep those moving. Man, there's just holes everywhere in this map. Just nuclear hellfire everywhere. Team 1 does have an artillery back online, it looks like. They have a salvation. Ooh. Not necessarily a game ender, but a game ender adjacent. It is a experimental artillery. But it's not the Maver, for sure. But it is targeting the YOLO and the shield. It's designed to take out shields. And Seraphims do have really nice shields, but it can only last so long. Of course, they're assisting the nuke launch as we speak. Things go down to assist the shields. The second one is down. The third one is down. There's the mini one right next to it. They're trying to build T2 to help assist with it. The Salvation, however, does not have good damage on the ground, so it does take a couple of shots to take out targets. Does look like that that YOLO is on its way for that position, but we have 2 loaded here, so it will be fine for now. There it goes. There it goes. Killed some Rascoms in that explosion. Team 1 has taken back the lead. They have 1 experimental artillery online. Team 2 has essentially nothing. Their YOLO did a huge amount of work. It was a great move by Bullard. He took out this base that was just a thorn in their side, took out the YOLO that was built. It was a great move. We have monkeys roaming around the map, taking out emplacements as we speak. But it does look like Team 2 is starting to be hemmed into their respective corners here. The middle of the map has been cut in half by Team 1. There goes that YOLO. It's going to land next to a comm. That was a great placement. Takes out a second comm. Oh, that's got to hurt. They're not control Ks. They are kills. That is a great move by Team 2's player. Apollo takes out two YOLOs, two comms with the last YOLO missile. And it is now a 2v3 in favor of Team 1. And of course, it is a partial set game, so all of those units get taken out. Oh, but I don't know. Maybe it's too little too late, maybe. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Ooh. Oof. If Team 2 loses the air advantage that they have, or at least the air forces that they have, that is game. Oh, that's gotta hurt. They're gonna lose the facilities. But if they lose the comm, that is it. The comm needs to get under protection and now has 37,000 hit points. It's going to hide in some shielding down here, but I don't know if it's going to save him. That was a great... There's been some really great placement nukes. Like, I missed this one, of course, up here, but man, that was a great placement. Taking out two comms in the water, that was great. Last two comms here for team... Wait, do they know that comm is there? Oh, they know that comm is there. That's where the satellite's just gonna sit above the comm. Oh, there we go. I says Bramble. Yep, there is an I. Oh, that's for Team 1 saying, "Hey, you have an I. You can go find a comm." You can see it's slowly whittling everything out. I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit, just because we kind of know in what direction the game is going at this point. Unless we have, a random nuke launcher and it takes out both the comms in the water. I feel like Team 1 has this in the bag. Salvation landing, of course, taking out air grids, taking out emplacements, taking out mass, taking out everything they can get their hands on. Then we have a bunch of Percys in the water doing something. They don't have torps on their chassis, so I wonder what they're gonna do. But the last Neptune is down. Actually, not last. One of the last air units. Naval units is down here for Team 1. They've lost so much. Everybody has lost so much. Add experimentals. I don't know what the other word was. But it's just mass torpedoes, bomber spam. Team 1 not using their air units, not wanting to engage that massive horde for Team 2's player of Bollard. He has 463 versus 26 and 300, so it's about a 4-3 advantage here for Team 1, but now he will engage. He's going to be over some SAM sites, so maybe that'll help drag in those ASFs here for Team 2. Team 2 only has this one a couple of air facilities left online. They can't really risk sending them in to die. There is a facility up here, but there are, of course, monkeys and other units dealing with that at the current moment. But we have the last SMD starting to fall around the map. Team 1 doesn't really have any nuke launchers. Well, I guess they have this one. It does have one loaded, so I guess once that SMD falls, that is the target. Do they even know that comm's there? They know it's a unit. They just don't know what it is. So that SMD is now down. Team 2's player of Bollard is not protected from nuclear Hellfire missiles. We have a Monkula trying to do what it can to navigate. That Novax is still alive after the kill on Ferv. That thing is still there. But the Monkula is going to come in, take out the shields. The Novaxes and the SMD are the priority. There goes the first one. The Ravagers open fire. Lots of damage. The second one goes down. Take that out. Good job. Now target the P-gens. Target the P-gens. The P-gen. The lid. The lid almost takes it out. So close. But there's a ping going down for that Novax. The nuke is launched by Team 1. Where is it going? I don't know. I don't know the angle of attack. Oh, it's going for the rest of that air grid here that was once Ferv's. Which, I mean, yeah, that's not a bad placement, but I don't know. Could have been taking out this position. The comm of Bollard is going somewhere. Where's he going? He's going over there. I hear explosions going on all the time. Snatch is defeated by Esmo with some strat bombers, it looks like, and the ASFs tussle over top. Team 1, it is a 3v1 scenario. Team 2 can still come back in this. And it's going to be very close, though. The ASFs do win that fight for Team 1. Team 2 cannot build any more ASFs at the current moment. Man, just as I thought this match was over, huge move coming out here from Team 2. Esmo just takes out everybody. Not everybody, but look at all the dead. Look at all the dead everything. How much mass is on this current map? 1 million mass. There is 1 million mass currently on the field. That is so much mass. I'm actually going to slow this back down to 0. I don't miss anything else. That was a great grab. Team 1 only has 1 player left, and if Team 2 can kill him, that is game. That might be Team 2's goal, but they don't have that much, infrastructure to really do anything. They have some... Oh, there could have been torp bombers as well, but... I mean, they could have come in this angle, it looks like, is probably what happened. Or even this... Oh, yeah, I feel like this angle is probably better. But there's a couple of... This is, you never see this every day. 2 fat boys leading the charge against some PD. You never really see that happening. And they're like in the throes of it. They're not hanging out, but they're pushing. Of course, all the units are dead, but all the structures and engineers are still online. And it looks like they're just targeting anything and everything now, taking out mass, taking out, land facilities, taking out any place of refuge that the comms for Team 2 can hide in. Man, this is a nail-biter here, folks. Man, 1 hour, 3 minutes. The comm of Broby on some, mission to reclaim the eastern section of the map. So essentially all 3 comms will be on this eastern edge for Team 2. Man, it is not looking good. Maybe I will go back and speed it up just a little bit. Maybe I'll go to 3. Maybe that's a good speed. Man, he's just going to start reclaiming, trying to rebuild what he can. He still has this facility. He still has mass and has 116 hit points left on that T3 air headquarters. But that's a lot of engineers to just die by artillery. Look at this. Just the engineers are trying to flee for their lives, but they just can't make it out. Oh, it's just so soul-crushing to watch. Fat Boys just all over the map here for both teams. Why? All I have to say is why? Why is there this many? Why? How many are there on this map? Yeah, it's the only ones on the map. There are 23 Fat Boys. There are 23 Fat Boys. That is so many. You do not need that many. We even have a Colossus on its way as well. You do not need that many Fat Boys. It's just... No. So many. Team 2's player up all trying to reestablish something over here to the east. It does look like Team 2, they're hanging on, but they're losing so much of their territory. We have, of course, a bunch of artillery raining in all the time. Another nuke will launch. Where is this one going? It will finally take out this position after I don't know how many minutes. There it goes. The comm of Ballard could have been caught in its nuclear, radius, but the missile was fired too late. Obviously. There it goes. The missile will land. There's no SMD nearby. Kaboom. Takes out that whole corner of the map. This game is reduced to 3.2 thousand mass per second versus 917. Dropping that total now to below 900. Team 2 really struggling. I think their best play now is to assassinate a comm. They have Seraphim, UEF, and Seraphim commanders. They could go for a telemaser comm play, but Esmo Noob hasn't built any of the requisite material to do so. Oh my goodness, I didn't notice this. You have 6 eye facilities, because why not? You just know where everything is on the map, essentially. You can see there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. There's one down here. You just have eyes everywhere on this map. I mean, you gotta know what you're firing at when you have artillery. You gotta have that intel coming in. You can see just the slow degradation of Team 2. They, there was a real back and forth. Team 1 was winning, but the comm of Lucky Ben says, GG, the game is going to end. Esmo Nuke follows suit. It's now a 1v1. Does Ballard stand still to stand strong? Does he leave? He's just going to build more mass storages. And there goes the Control K here for Team 2. Leaving this game to a victory. Last man standing here of the comm. of Broby. Look at him just sitting in that Aeon base with all of those eyes. Look at that. That's just ridiculous. I feel like honestly, underrated player of the game, even though he lost, was Ballard. He built a YOLO before anybody else. He destroyed a whole bunch of stuff. He held a large number of ASFs, held back Team 1 on the southern side, just an air alone for a long time. He did a great job. I mean, a lot of people did a great job, but like he did an excellent job. So let me know down in the comments if you have the same opinion. Like the video if you found it enjoyable. Please comment down below what else, your feelings, your thoughts, your questions, whatever whatever that mind is thinking of. Let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you haven't hit that sub button down below the video and you've been enjoying my content or just this video in general, please let me know by hitting that sub button. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I will see all of you in the next one.